Hey, little buddy, want to ride? Pikachu! Whatever.
Do you want a 30-second crash course on Nintendo's Pokemon Red and Blue? Okay, here we go. Pokemon Red version and Pokemon Blue version were the first Pokemon games to be released outside of Japan, becoming available in North America on September 28, 1998. They quickly became the best-selling non-bundled games released for Game Boy, as well as being the best-selling role-playing games of all time, when also included sales on Pokemon Green and the Japanese versions of Pokemon Red and Blue. Sales exceeded 31 million units. To say that I was excited about this game coming out as a kid is an absolute understatement.
Pokemon for Game Boy is here. With both packs, you can catch them all.
So now that you know the entire backstory, I decided to go and get my own version of Pokemon Red, which was the first version that I owned as a kid. And of course, the first one that I encounter is a literal fake. So after a lot of back and forth, guys, I've decided that I'm going to open this thing. Now, before we do, I just want to show you what I kind of looked for and what I went through to come to this decision. And at just first glance, the game looks really good. It's sealed. It looks older. It kind of has that aged looking finish, almost sun-beaten. But to the untrained eye, this is like really dangerous. To someone who's actually held these older games sealed before, and for this one specifically, I haven't had this game in my possession since I was a kid, and I opened it for the first time, but there were some things that tipped me off, so I want to show you what those are. So the first place that I went, guys, was just online. I tried to find different people posting the game itself and kind of see if there's any differences, along with matching that up with what I was thinking already in my mind. So this one's a perfect example of the first thing that popped out at me. The game itself that I have in my possession, like, it is wrapped really tight. From what I remember about these games is they kind of have like a little bit of excess or a little bit of give right here, right? So that was the first thing I noticed. This thing is like almost vacuum sealed, which a lot of times they weren't necessarily like that. They kind of had, because of the seams, they had like a little excess plastic right here. And that's kind of what you can see in this picture. It's pushed in a little bit, but you can kind of see that it's just a looser feel. So bringing the game into the frame, tell me if you can see another thing that's sticking out for you compared to the one that's in the screen right here and the one that I'm holding. The E is different. Now, at first, I thought that was an issue, but there are different versions. There's first releases, there's European versions, X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to get into all that. So I did a little bit more digging, and I came across one that had the darker E, or the black E. Now, again, what's another thing that sticks out to you like a sore thumb when you're looking at both of these? And it's really, really evident. This one down here that I know is real is much lighter, and that's always a clear indicator. There's always that color difference. That's with all fakes. You would think that they'd be able to get it down by now, but they just, don't care enough to even match up the, the color. Like this thing up here is freaking completely red. That was one thing that stuck out to me instantly when I saw it. It was just completely off color. Also with the Pokemon, I mean, if you've been around the game for long enough, you know what that Pokemon color should be, that lighter yellow, right? So if we go to the back, this was a really useful posting for me. So if you see this Nintendo, always, guys, when you're looking at fakes, I don't know if you can kind of see this. Let me see if I can bring it in. So you can see this Nintendo. It is not nearly as crisp. And I don't know if you can, it's kind of hard to tell, but my Nintendo right here is not nearly as crisp as the one down here. I'll go to the full screen so you can see it. So there you go. Now we're zoomed in. The other letters look a little bit better, but they're still fuzzy in person. You can see it almost looks like we're out of focus, but we're not out of focus. It's just the fact that those letters are not crisp and that stamp is not crisp. When you're depending on any, older Pokemon product, because God knows that they've tried to fake them all. You always want to check the crispness of the printing. These guys, even though it's older, the prints were crisp. Like, look at the words. We are focused, okay? We're focused. You can see my big, disgusting fingertip. We are absolutely focused, and these words look like they're out of focus, but they're not. They're just fuzzy because it's trash printing. So just a few more indicators, like on the back here, I just noticed that there's just spacing issues all the way around. So you can kind of see how Pikachu is almost running to the border right there. The one underneath, it is not running to the border. There's just spacing issues everywhere. Once you start to doubt the product, you need to really, really go into it and look for yourself and find these honestly pretty clear indicators. Another thing, okay, so let me orient it the same way. You can kind of see the spacing issue. Also, it doesn't have an H seam going across the back or the front of the box, and we'll talk about that, but you can see the Gengar has that space issue. You can see the font is much larger on the real one compared to this one, including the spacing issue. And then, of course, there's that color problem again. You can see the clear tint difference, and that's just an issue. All right, so here's that H seam that I was talking about. Now, at first you might say, oh yeah, no, it has the seam. This is not what the seam is supposed to look like. It is supposed to look much, much more crinkled right here, and not with a defined line right there. It just doesn't have that feel. And if you guys know, then you know. And for those of you that don't know, this is a very, very good learning lesson, and maybe you can take it to your own collection and see if your product is legit, or you might have some authenticity issues. But all the way around, there's no H seam to be found the way that it should. A lot of these games have seams that go right across the back of them also. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see that seam that's going across the back of it, which is not going on right here. So I mean, just all the way around. Now, lastly, what I want to talk about is what I'm hearing on the inside. So I know this is something that can't really come across through the video, so I just want to let me see if I can do this. I don't know if you can hear that, but it just sounds like there's very, very little in here. And what should be coming in this box is more than a few guides, and I know that because each Game Boy game comes with an instruction guide, and then usually Pokemon will throw in some extras, plus the cartridge itself. I mean, it doesn't even feel like it's heavy enough to have the cartridge. So this should be the contents of the box itself. And yeah, I mean, you can't tell, but I can tell. It's super. I mean, it's just super light, and it doesn't have that heftiness that the regular game would have. But you know what? There's literally only one way to find out, and we're gonna open this damn thing. All right, I am extremely nervous. I kind of battled with this. Okay, I'm just not gonna talk anymore. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm just gonna do it. I don't know what else to do, but I'm doing it. Okay. If it's fake, then I'll just put a Ziploc bag over it and burn it closed, I guess. Okay. That is another thing that I didn't even take into account. This isn't even like plastic. This is like, well, obviously it's plastic, but it's like a different type of plastic. I can't explain. It's not like, imagine ripping like a Ziploc bag like we were talking about, how it has that give. This doesn't have that. You can almost hear it like, it does not sound like it should. So, okay, this is the moment of truth. Holy crap. What is even going to be in here? What is literally even going to be in here? What the crap? That is so interesting. Okay, so this is definitely I can't even believe that there's a freaking cartridge in here. This is unbelievable. This might be a total repro. I wasn't even thinking that there was going to be a cartridge in here, and my freaking Game Boy away somewhere in the garage. And now I'm going to have to unearth that thing to see if this is actually something that works. That's insane. Let me show you what the game literally should look like. Okay, so here is the game, how it should look. And you want to talk about coloring issues. That is crazy. I wonder if this is an actual working reproduction. So I did want to report back, guys. The game unfortunately did not fire up. This might be an internal battery issue, but yeah, I just wanted to do my due diligence and let you know about that. I might mess with this some more, but I don't even think that if it's worth it. God knows the freaking game is going to be not even usable, workable. I have no idea. But yeah, I just wanted to report back with that. Is this like some weird alternate universe version of this? But yeah, you can totally tell this is actually really close. It's too close for comfort. It's too close is what I'm gonna say. All right, guys, I'll report back on whether or not this thing actually works because I don't have my Game Boy on me right now, but this is just a word to the wise. Always check what you got before you buy it and look for certain indicators, a lot like the ones that we talked about today. I hope this was helpful in some way. If it was, guys, hit all the buttons. I appreciate you all. I will see you on the next live or the next episode. Peace.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. It's time to hit the button already. Do it now. What do you think, I'm dancing for free here?